Hello everybody. I wanted to start out my Battle Brothers guides with the first thing you do, characters. Now today we're going to go through some early game backgrounds that you want to look through, some late game backgrounds you want to go through, and I'm breaking down the characters into the five big categories that I have, and then what backgrounds are good for those. So there are many backgrounds in this game. This town alone, we can see there's a shepherd, squire, sellsword, deserter, another sellsword. 10 bigger towns like this one. This is a citadel right here. We'll have stuff like the sellsword or the squire. If you go look at some shitty town like this, it's probably gonna have a farmhand, might have a peddler. You know, this sea town might have a fisherman. So it's kind of local and based on the type of town. Now, so I want to just go through right now. I'm going to talk about some early game good builds, good backgrounds. So one of them we can see right here is the Squier. The Squier is great for a frontline class. They're kind of expensive, like compared to other stuff. Like you can buy a farmhand for 300, this guy's 1500. But a Squier is almost always going to be better than a farmhand. You can get a good farmhand, but your average farmhand and average Squire, your Squire is going to be on top. So let's get the Squire. Sell swords are really good as well. Let's just talk about here. Shepherd. Shepherd's kind of shit. I would never roll on a shepherd. I would never buy a deserter. Deserters are ass. Just like complete ass. Alright, so early game we have the Squire. We have the Farmhand. The Farmhand's very good. The Brawler's very good. The Cultist is good. The Hunter is very good. The Butcher's good early game, but it kind of dies out later. The Caravan Hand is good early game. Thieves can be okay early game, and a Wild Man can be good early game. Now, what I suggest is let's take a look at a couple of stat sheets that you can look at online. You can find these, and then we'll look at what I'm talking about. So I have two stat sheets right here. First off, we have the Wiki, where you can just look at all the stuff like this. Like, let's look at a Brawler. You can see average stats. You have to see the events they can do, average stats, minimum, maximums, and see what you're looking at. Something like this I found. I looked up like Battle Brothers background spreadsheet. You can see stuff like this. Filthy Robot has one that's this is like averages, and this is averages compared to that. Like, so minimum is 50. This is minimum is 55. Maximum average is 60, and this is 70. It can be a little confusing, but like either of these look very good. You kind of help you. Even something like this is kind of okay, but I think you'll learn through practice what the good stuff is. Let's get back to the game. All right. So some late game builds or late game backgrounds. Sorry, you have stuff like the sellsword. The sellsword I'd say is a late game because it's look at it like 3,000. It's kind of a lot. 42 daily. You can get sellswords up to like 110 daily wage. Other stuff like the Adventurous Noble, I really like that as a class. That's kind of a high-end one, can be expensive. Hedge Knights can cost 10k up front. That's a fuck of a lot. And then Hunters, I'd say Hunters never really die out there. Hunters are the best range character in the game, so you always want to be looking at Hunters. I would say other late game classes might be a Monk, because some classes like Hedge Knights will actually fucking kill each other in a random event. So the Monk is shit, but I have a couple of Hedge Knights, so to prevent them from killing each other, I have this guy as a Monk who solely exists to carry my gear for inventory spots and to pass random events so my Hedge Knights that I want to keep don't die. So you might want to do stuff like that. Monks are good to have, not really early game because you won't have Hedge Knights, but later in the game you would kind of want something like a Monk. So let's just look through some of this stuff like a Squier and see why a Squier might be very good. So when you first buy a character, what the first thing you do is you strip them of everything. Because let's say I keep this on, he has this, that, and this, and I'm trying to judge what his stamina is and trying to judge what his melee defense is. But oh, he's got a fucking shield. Just take this off. So what you're looking at? So every time you roll to level up, you on stuff like melee skill, it's 1 to 3, a random number every time you level up. Ranged attack, it could be 2 to 4. Melee defense 1 to 3. Range defense just got changed 2 to 4. HP, fatigue, resolve 2 to 4. Initiatives 3 to 5. So you'll see this as you level up. So every time you have a star adds 1 minimum to your roll. So this 1 to 3 now becomes 2 to 3. This 2 to 4 becomes, I think, 4 only. And this becomes, I think, 3 to 4. Like, let's say you had, if you had 3 melee stars, you would be rolling on 4s. You'd roll on 3s and 4s every time, which is great. Because that means you're rapidly growing your melee attack skill, which is, like, you know, obviously really, really crucial. So you want to be looking for brothers. These are good stars for, like, a hybrid build. A build that does both melee attack and range attack, maybe with a crossbow. I have some guys like this. He has high melee attack, high melee defense, and he's got some range defense. So when he's shooting people with a crossbow from far away, he won't really get hit back. This would be a decent build for that. So he's kind of alright. 60 HP is kind of low. 100 stam's kind of okay. You know, let's look at this hybrid build that I have here. Let's strip him of everything. This guy, 70 HP. He has a quirk for plus 10. That's great. I never had to level HP at like 70. 127 stam, that is kind of low. Really great aim, kind of decent defense, range, it's alright. Resolve's kind of shit. So 747 resolve here is good. Alright, so we're done with this guy. Let's look at someone else. Alright, let's look at this this sellsword right here. This sellsword, these are some kind of the high-end things. This is what you'll be doing. Strip him of his stuff. 55 HP's low, less than 100 stam's really low. 65 attack is great, but he's got no stars. So I'll be rolling on, he might get ones. That's pretty bad. Average of 2, you know, 1 to 3, means he'll kind of go up to 85. Look at this guy, he's got 101. I don't really want to deal with 85. Like, 85 is not that good. This side, 97, he got 98, 85's not that great. This, though, this is okay. Like, you know, he got 112, he got 109. This hybrid here's got 97. So 48, look at that double starred, that's about 4, that'll be 88. That's like almost good. It's kind of alright, could be better. Got decent defense, low HP. Let's look at his level up. Like I said, he's rolled a 2, so he's okay. You know, rolled 3 on his stam on 2 to 4. His resolve star means he's got a higher roll, same with HP. He definitely needs HP, he's only got 55. I like to have higher resolve than this. And he does need some attack, so I don't want to skip on attack. Maybe make him a melee character. That would be this guy. Definitely not keeping him. He's kind of shit. And finally, at this town, let's look at this guy here. Remember? Alright, we're going to strip him of his stuff. Ooh, this guy's fucking amazing. Holy shit. 66 triple starred means, what's he rolling? He's rolling on 4s. 4, 10 levels, 106. That's phenomenal. And 9 melee defense, double starred, means I'd be rolling on 2s and 3s. About 29, 30 melee defense, maybe like 34. Great. Has no HP, no stamina, and not that good resolve. So this guy can hit like a truck, and that's about it. So he's going to have to get some really good rolls. You know, this is kind of like this guy, not going to lie. So with a low HP build like this, maybe I don't want to level hit points. So now let's go to the perk screen. If you have a character that you want to keep, first perk is Student, so they level up quicker. Student gives you nothing but more experience, but at max level, you'll get a perk point back. So I get a free perk point at max level, so I'm not actually wasting this. 55 HP, let's look at this. 96, 80, 90, 77. I'm 55, I can't get that up to 80. So I might just take Colossus as my next perk. Colossus is always a good perk to have. 68 is still very bad, actually. But, you know, I can work with that. I could level that up a couple of times, get it up to 73, 74, and that could be acceptable as a frontline character. This is a great frontline. 74 aim. Like, I mean, look at this max. This has 99 and 11. Going up by 4, 8 more times, 32. It's like I said, it's over 100 aim. This guy's fucking fantastic, over 100 aim. I think my highest is 101 on this dude. Pretty phenomenal. So that's why something like a sellsword would be great. A sellsword has great stats like this compared to something like a farmhand. Look at this. Look at this. Volmar. Sellsword. Paid 104 crowns daily. Let's look at something like this. Who's a fucking farmhand? Farmhand levels up 40 daily. So it cost me 2.5 times have this sellsword than it is to have this farmhand. So when you're looking at your 1200 daily crown intake, this level 3 farmhand is paid more than this level 20 level 3 sellsword is paid more than level 20 farmhand. So I might not want this guy. That is the issue when why I say stuff like a late game build would be like a hedge knight or an adventurous noble or a sellsword, because these classes cost too much in the early game. You can't afford to be spending 1200 crowns in the early game. Alright, hopefully there's some low stuff. Alright, look at this like a farmhand here. Great. Farmhand. Look at these stats. Alright, this is great. Dastard is an instant dismiss, but we'll just look beyond that. This is why a farmhand is great early game. 65 HP means you don't have to level that as much. Remember, I wanted like 70. He's already kind of got that. 108, the last guy had 90 stam. 108 farmhand means you don't have to level stamina as much. Or you do, and you just have much higher end-up stamina. This guy's at 127. Who's got good stam? I know, what are, you're a farmhand. Let's get rid of your stuff. 155 versus 127. This guy is so much better. Granted, he is 2 levels higher, but still, it's great because you get a lot more stam on characters like this. Now, remember, that's a pretty low roll on a farmhand. It's 47. It is triple starred though, so leveling up at 4 times 10 is 40, 87. That's a great early game character. That's why something like this farmhand would be great early game, because he's kind of got the stuff you need. You don't have to level HP or stamina that much, or you do and you get higher numbers than you would on that sellsword. The problem with all my sellswords is their stam is really low. 109's pretty bad. 111's pretty bad. 127, I kind of lucked out on this guy because he has tough, which means I didn't have to level his HP as much. 59, that's really shitty. But he's got good other stuff. So, I don't know. Like, 10 HP here means I didn't have to level, so I could level stamina more. This guy had to take Colossus, and he only got to 70, and he still has bad stamina. So there's some things you have to sacrifice with these characters, which is why earlier things like farmhands or butchers or caravan hands, they can kind of luck out because they have some of those stats just pre-built into them. So enough rambling about just rolling on backgrounds. I'm gonna go through some roles that I've built, and then we're gonna look through some backgrounds. So let's start with the Frontline character. This was originally a farmhand. He got converted to a cultist through a random event. But like I was talking about before, for a Frontline, a farmhand's good. He's got good HP, he's got good stamina, and if you get a good roll, triple starred here, he's going to get really great aim. This guy's defense is pretty shit, but hell yeah, 101 aim, that's what I like to see. Brawlers are really good for the same reasons. If we go back to the stats, I don't have a brawler right now. They all kind of died or are dismissed. Brawlers have high attack, high stam, high HP, not very good defense. But at the same time, that's what you want in an early level character. You want high HP, high stam, so you don't have to level them as much, so you can more focus on your melee and your melee defense and your melee attack. Sellswords, like I said, these are more of a late game thing, but if you can get a good sellsword here, 100 aim's not bad. It's 1 star and 100 aim. This guy's got 101 aim and he's triple starred. You got 1 star here and you got 100 aim. But like I said, the other shields use kind of low stam, but you can make a sellsword work. Hedge knights are very good. I got a hedge knight here. This guy's more of a tank class than anything else. But same thing. We started with 67. He has a drunkard, so he has a little minus. But 67 starting, remember, that's really good. This guy here probably this guy here. Alright, look at this. 47 versus fucking 67. Remember, he's got the -5. So hedge knights are probably your best class, but they cost like 10k up front, even more. We saw one right here. 14 grand to hire this dude. I don't know if it's worth it. But other Squiers, we looked at the Squier in Brunwald. He was pretty good. He was also good for a hybrid. Kind of depends on the stars. You want guys with good stars. So looking at next class, we have a ranged character here. Hunters are your best ranged class. Just hands down, hunters. You see a hunter early game for 1500? Buy the hunter. This guy's got 112 ranged accuracy. You got 109. This is my companion starting brother, 105. So you can see this hunter here is really outshining this other companion here. And this is a pre-built character with 2 1-stars. So hunter's great. Your next best thing after the hunter is probably a poacher. Poachers are okay, but when you get late game, you definitely want hunters. Bowyers are like sort of like 3rd class, and witch hunters are sort of okay, but not as much. You want hunters. Sellswords again are okay. Like we have a sellsword here, 98, sellsword 92, sellsword 95, sellsword 97. Sellswords really fit a lot of classes with good stars. So that's why you'd kind of want a sellsword. Next class here, we have the hybrid. Like I said, well, let's look at this guy because he still has his fucking gear on. This is like a crossbow, and he has his quick hands where you can switch weapons for free once per turn. He pulls out a pole arm, so he's melee and ranged. And I like hunters for this. I rolled well in this hunter with the stars, and then I like sell swords for this as well. Sell swords because they have the you can kind of afford. These guys don't need as much stamina because they're kind of in the back. So you can afford to have low stamina on these dudes because they're running around with a bunch of shit in their pockets. But they're only staying that far away, so they're not getting hit, they're not taking as much stamina, they're not attacking as much. So sellswords are really good because their weaknesses of low HP and low stam don't matter as much. The next type of class here we have is a bannerman. So there's some banner gives morale, or gives resolve. Resolve is like morale to people nearby, based on how high the resolve of the guy with the banner is. And you have abilities like Rally to raise everyone else's morale mid-battle. So good classes for this is you have the Monk. The Monk, if you get a good start, this is 54 and he hasn't even leveled it, so that, that's okay. A Cultist is good. This guy's I don't think I've ever seen better. 151 with fucking resolve here. This is fucking phenomenal. Cultists have great resolve. Monks have great resolve. The issue with monks and cultists is they're kind of shit. This guy is really shit, except for he's actually just shit in general. This guy is really shit, except for his resolve. His resolve is fucking amazing, but everything else is shit. So what I'm trying is I read about this. I think it was on Reddit or a video or something. It's an attack bannerman where he kind of uses a whip. A whip has the ability to disarm things. So I'm thinking maybe you don't always need the banner. Maybe you might want to bring the banner, but you wanted to have do something other than rally people. So I'll bring a whip, so then he can disarm people. But whips need melee attack. So what has good melee attack and good resolve? Adventurous Nobles. Adventurous Nobles, I think, are a really great class. I'm running a few of these right now, because I was rolling for this banner, but I got this guy, 102 fucking aim, 98 aim. I really do like Adventurous Nobles. This guy here is, he's kind of okay. He's got 44, 91. So for a bannerman, that's a great class. In the last role I'm looking at, I've heard a tank class. I call it a mammoth because I think that sounds pretty badass. A mammoth. These guys just level melee defense, and they sit there with a shield and tank everything. So good class. Thieves are good. Thieves have high melee defense. They're good for more early game. Mammoths, tanks, whatever you want to call them. I'm gonna call them mammoths. Early game mammoths, because they don't have a lot of HP, they don't have a lot of stamina, so you want to get better ones. Hedge Knights are where it's at late game. Hedge Knight, started high defense, plus the stars, gets me up to 77. That's so fucking good. He's got the high HP and the high stam with a lot of fucking armor. This guy here, he's got 48. Let's just give him a fucking shield. 73. He's got the high stamina. We kind of saw him before. He had like 90-something stam. This is a farmhand that rolled really well. Again, here we have another Hedge Knight with 78. So, more from a mammoth, you want high HP, you want high stam, you kind of want high resolve as well, but not as much. Like, resolve is kind of another set, because you don't care about accuracy. These guys are just tanks, so you don't need accuracy. So you just need triple star melee defense. That's really it. Sellswords kind of work. Like this guy, starting with 7. Starting with 7 is good, but let's say he was triple starred at 7, rolls 3, gets up to like 37, 47. That's really good. But look at this. He could have 59 HP and no stamina. You can't really roll that on a sellsword, so I don't really think sellswords are good. I think thieves and hedge knights are the best. So just to reiterate, early game you want stuff like farmhands, butchers, brawlers, caravan hands. Late game you want stuff like sellswords, hunters, hedge knights, adventurous nobles. That's what I really like in this game. There's definitely other builds out there with the Southern DLC that just came out. There's more backgrounds to choose from. I haven't played that. But these are generally guides, and remember, you can look at those spreadsheets. I'll try and link them in the video description, and you can look at those and see what you'd really want in a character. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you all around.